I'm Marcus Ellison. I'm 56 years old. I spent 16 years in a prison cell for beating a man so badly he almost died. All because of a parking space, a hot afternoon, and 30 seconds I can never take back. Let me tell you what happened. You see, last week my daughter called. It was my grandson's birthday. She sent a picture to my phone. I look at that little boy's face, and then I look at my own in this camera, and I see the whole distance between us. It's measured in years. 16 years I wasn't there. Years I lost in a single moment of pure, stupid anger. That's what I need to explain. Before that day, I was just a guy, a shipping dock worker from the old South End of Toledo. I had a high school diploma, a bad back, and a regular life. Married, 2 kids, 2 brothers. We were raised in a working class house, both parents. It was normal stuff. The kind of life where you get frustrated, bills, layoffs, the summer heat, but you manage it, or you think you do. Honestly, I thought I was handling it, but all that normalcy, that whole life, was built on a foundation I didn't understand was so fragile. It was a Friday in July 2009. Let me tell you, the air at the dock that day was sour with fear. They'd just let a bunch of guys go. I kept my job, but it didn't feel like a win. It felt like luck, and luck can run out. I was sweating through my shirt. My spine was a solid ache, and all I wanted was to get home to my apartment, to a cold beer and some silence. I was a coiled spring, just looking for a place to unwind. I pulled into my apartment lot. It was my sanctuary. And that's when I saw the one thing I couldn't handle that day. My spot. The one scrap of shade by the dumpster. I saw this shiny sedan, not from the neighborhood, easing right into it. A man in a suit got out. I laid on the horn. He looked right at me through my dusty windshield, and he shrugged. Just a little lift of the shoulders, like I was nothing. Then he closed his car door. Thunk. That sound. It was the match. Something in me snapped. It wasn't about the spot anymore. You have to understand that. It was about everything. The layoffs, the heat, the ache in my back, that suit, that shrug. I got out of my car. I said, "Hey, that's my spot." He turned, looked me up and down in my grimy work clothes and said, "It's a public lot, pal." And he had this smirk, just a tiny curl at the corner of his mouth. That was it. That was the fuel. The red didn't just rise in my vision. It drowned the whole world. I don't remember deciding to move. My body just did. There was no thought, only that fire. My fist connected with his jaw. I felt the impact shoot all the way up my arm. He went down hard on the asphalt. The fire wasn't satisfied. It wanted more. I was outside myself, watching this animal that used to be Marcus Ellison. I kicked. I hit him again. The sound was terrible. It was like hitting a wet bag. But the fire just roared louder. I was lost in it, completely gone. Until a sound cut through the red haze. A woman's voice, shrill and raw with terror, screamed from a balcony. "Stop! Oh God, stop! You're killing him! You're killing him. Those words hit me like a bucket of ice water. The red vanished, just gone. I looked down, and I saw what I'd done. He was broken. Blood was pooling under his head. He wasn't moving. I looked at my hands. They were red, and they were shaking. In the distance, I heard sirens. I didn't run. I just sat down on the curb next to him. I remember the grit of the concrete under my palms. I remember thinking, my kids. Then it was a parking space. The cops came. They cuffed me. I went quietly. The next time I saw the sky without bars in front of it, it was 2025. 22 years sentenced, 16 served. Prison is time, but the real sentence started when I got out. My wife was long gone. My kids were grown. My brothers, we were close once, raised the same. They visited at first, then life moved on. They have their own families. The man I hurt survived, but with injuries. I live with that. I have a room now. I stock shelves. I talk to my daughter sometimes. She sends pictures. I am out, but I am still serving time. Every single day. So why am I telling you this? Not for sympathy. I need to tell you what I learned in that empty space I created. That man in the suit wasn't my enemy. He was just a guy having a day, same as me. My enemy was the anger. It was a squatter living rent-free in my head, and in 30 seconds I handed it the deed to my entire future, my marriage, my fatherhood, my freedom. I let it define me. I thought anger made me strong. I was wrong. It made me its puppet. So here's what I know now. When you feel that heat rising, you have to see the next 30 seconds as a cliff edge. Just step back, breathe, walk away. It is not weakness. Walking away from a fight is the strongest, most powerful thing you will ever do. Because the real fight isn't with the other person. It's with that fire inside you. And you have to win that one. I'm 56. I'm trying to build something from the ashes. But you're probably not me. Not yet. You still have time. You have your family, your job, your sky. You have the next 30 seconds of your life, and the 30 after that. Don't let a moment of anger define your whole life. Don't trade everything for nothing. Just walk away, please. Learn from my loss. Don't be me. Don't be me. That's what I want for you. But to understand that, you need to understand what being me really means. It's not just the cell. It's the silence that came after. When I got inside, there was a kind of numbness at first, the shock of it, but that wears off. Then you start to feel the weight of the time, 16 years. You try to break it down to make it make sense. That's 5,840 days, I counted. You think about what a single day holds, a morning, an afternoon, an evening, a bedtime story, a school play, a quiet dinner, a fight with your spouse and making up after. I missed 5,840 of those. My daughter went from a girl to a woman in that time. My son grew up without me even seeing his face change. My brothers, Mike and David, They came the first year. Mike tried to make jokes. David just looked sad. Then the visits got further apart. Life goes on. It has to. I don't blame them. It's just a fact. You see, in prison you live in a world of facts. Concrete facts. The fact of the bars. The fact of the schedule. The fact of the men around you, all living with their own 30 seconds of fire. But the hardest fact is the one you create for yourself every single day. I am here because of what I did. There's no one else to blame. That man in the suit didn't put me here. My anger put me here. I had to sit with that in a 6x9 cell for 16 years. There's no running from it in there. You just have to stare at it. I got letters sometimes from my daughter, Angela. She was the one who kept a thread of contact. Her letters were like little windows. She'd tell me about school, about getting her first job, about getting married. She sent a picture from her wedding. I wasn't in it, of course. I was here. I held that picture, and I traced her face with my finger, and I felt this hollow ache. It wasn't sharp pain anymore. It was just a permanent empty space where I was supposed to be. That's the sentence you serve after the sentence. You become a ghost in your own family's life. Let me tell you about a specific visit. It was maybe year 8. Angela was in her 20s. She came alone. We sat at the table, the glass between us. She was so beautiful and so grown. She talked about her job, about an apartment she'd rented, normal stuff. Then she got quiet. She looked down at her hands, then back at me. She said, "Dad, I'm seeing someone. His name is Ben. He's a good guy." I nodded. I said, "That's great, honey. I'm happy for you." And I was. But then she said, He knows about you, about where you are." She didn't say what you did. She said where you are. And I saw it in her eyes, the shame. Not her shame for me, my shame, reflected back at me through my daughter's eyes. That was worse than any guard, any lock, any day in that cell. My mistake was a shadow over her life, too. That's when I really understood the cost. It's a debt you pass on. The man I hurt, I never knew his name. At the trial, they said he had a fractured skull, brain swelling, lasting damage. He survived, but his life was changed forever. Because of me, because of my fire. I think about him all the time. I wonder if he has nightmares about a parking lot. I wonder if he gets angry now, too. I took more than a parking space from him. I took his peace, and I have to live with that. There's no making that right. There's just carrying it. When I got out in 2025, the world was different. Everything was faster. People looked at their phones more. Toledo had changed. The old South End had changed. And I was a 56-year-old man with a felony for violent assault on my record. My old life was gone. My wife had moved on years before, rightfully so. My kids had their own lives. My brothers helped me get this room, this job stocking shelves at a warehouse. It's quiet work. I'm grateful for it. But here's the thing they don't tell you. Freedom, when you've got nothing left to be free for, is its own kind of prison. You walk down the street and you see fathers with their kids, couples arguing over what to make for dinner, guys coming home from work to their families, and you're just a spectator. You forfeited your ticket to that show. So I come home to this room. I look at the picture of my grandson on my phone, and I think about the chain of it all. One moment of rage broke a chain that went back generations. My parents, who worked so hard to give us a stable home. And it broke the chain forward to my grandchildren, who will only ever know me as a story, and not a good one. I sit here in this quiet, and I serve the rest of my sentence, the life sentence. I sit here in this quiet, and I serve the rest of my sentence, the life sentence. And the hardest part isn't the loneliness or the shame, it's the knowing exactly how it happened, and that you can't fix it. You see, about a year after I got out, I tried to see my son. His name is Michael. He was named after my brother. I hadn't seen him since he was a boy. He agreed to meet me at a diner, Neutral Ground. I got there an hour early. I was so nervous. I practiced what I'd say. He walked in and I didn't recognize him. He was a man, a stranger with my eyes. He sat down. We ordered coffee. It was awkward. We talked about the weather, about the old neighborhood, safe stuff. Then there was this silence. He stirred his coffee, not looking at me. I knew I had to say something. This was my chance. I said, "Mike, I am so sorry for everything, for not being there." He nodded. He kept looking at his coffee. He said, "I know you are." And I thought, okay, this is good. This is a start. But then he looked up at me. His face was calm, too calm. And he said, "But sorry doesn't really cover it, does it? It doesn't get me a dad at my high school graduation. It doesn't get Mom a husband when the furnace broke in the middle of winter and she had to call her brother to fix it. It doesn't explain you to my friends when I was a kid. Sorry is just a word. It doesn't fill in the empty space." He wasn't yelling. He wasn't even angry. That was the worst part. He was just stating facts. The same kind of concrete facts I lived with in my cell. And he was right. My sorry was a pebble thrown into a canyon. You never hear it hit bottom. I said, "I know. I don't expect. I just wanted you to hear it from me." He finished his coffee. He put some money on the table for it. He said, "I appreciate you reaching out. I do. And I'm glad you're out and you're okay. But I don't really know you. You're my father, but you're not my dad. That guy left in 2009. Then he stood up. He gave me a sort of nod, and he walked out of the diner. I watched him go. I just sat there. The waitress came and refilled my cup. I didn't even notice. That broke me. More than the sentencing, more than the cell doors closing, because that was the final living proof of what I'd done. I had created a ghost. I was a ghost in my own son's life, a story with a bad ending that he had to carry around. My anger didn't just steal my time, it stole his father, and you can't give that back. I think about my brothers, Mike and David. We shared a room growing up. We fought over the bathroom, over the last piece of pie. We had each other's backs. When I went in, they tried. They really did. But they had their own lives, jobs, kids, mortgages. They had to keep moving forward. I became a problem they couldn't solve, a sadness they had to visit on Saturdays. And after a while, that gets heavy. People have to put heavy things down. I don't blame them. I really don't. But it's another chain, broken. Sometimes in this room I'll catch myself getting frustrated. The internet is slow. I drop a can of soup on my foot. Some guy cuts me off in traffic. That old heat starts to bubble up. And for a second, just a second, I feel that old version of me waking up. The one who wants to shout, to hit something. But then I see it. I see the cliff edge. I see the next 30 seconds stretching out into 16 years. Into a diner with a son who's a stranger. Into a grandson I only know from a photo on a phone. So I breathe. I walk away. I let the guy have the right of way. I pick up the can of soup. It's a practice. Every single day is a practice in not being who I was. The man I was, he thought strength was in the swing. He thought respect was in not backing down. He was an idiot. The strongest thing I ever did was swing my fist. The weakest man I ever was sat in that diner, unable to bridge a gap I created with my own 2 hands. Real strength isn't in the explosion. It's in the containment. It's looking at that fire inside you and saying, no, you don't get to drive today. It's walking away with your hands clean and your future intact. It's going home to your family, even if you're still stewing, because they're what matters. Not the parking space, not the smirk, not the stupid, fleeting feeling of being disrespected. I wasted it. I wasted my one and only life on a feeling that lasted less than a minute. I traded my children for a moment of pride. I traded my freedom for the chance to feel powerful. It was the worst trade in the history of trades. And here's the thing I finally understand, sitting in this quiet room. The anger never really wanted the parking spot. It didn't even want to hurt that man. The anger just wanted out. It wanted to be fed. And I fed it the most expensive meal imaginable. I fed it everything I had, and I fed it everything I had. So here's what I learned, sitting in this quiet, looking at the life I burned down. That fire inside you, it's a liar. It tells you that you're standing up for yourself, that you're showing strength, that you're demanding respect. But it's not strength. It's a surrender. You're surrendering your mind, your future, your entire life to a feeling, a temporary, stupid feeling. I surrendered my children for a feeling. I traded my freedom for a feeling. I gave away decades of sunrises and quiet evenings and the sound of my family's voices for a hot rush of blood that lasted less than a minute. The anger won. It got exactly what it wanted, everything. And I was left with the ashes. Here's what I understand now that I wish I'd understood on that hot July afternoon. You have to know what your everything is. Before the heat rises, you have to have a picture in your head of what you're not willing to lose. For me now, it's that picture of my grandson on my phone. It's the sound of my daughter's voice when she calls. It's this quiet room and the simple fact that I can walk to the store and buy a coffee. That's my everything now. It's small, but it's mine. Back then, my everything was my family, my home, my freedom. But in that moment, I didn't see it. All I saw was the smirk. You have to see your everything clearly, and you have to hold on to it tighter than you hold on to your pride. So my direct advice to you, to anyone feeling that old, familiar heat start to bubble up in your chest, you have to practice walking away. It's a muscle. You have to build it. It feels wrong at first. It feels like you're losing, but you're not. You're making a trade, and you have to see the trade clearly. You're trading a moment of temporary satisfaction for your entire future. You're trading your next 30 seconds of anger for the next 30 years of your life. Is it worth it? I can tell you with absolute certainty, it is never worth it. That guy who cuts you off in traffic, that coworker who disrespects you, that stranger who takes your parking spot, they get to drive away. They get to go home. You're the one who has to live with the consequences if you let the fire out. You're the one who will sit in the quiet years later, remembering the scream, the sirens, the taste of regret. Don't give them that power over you. Don't give your anger the keys. I'm 56. I'm trying to build something from the ashes. It's slow work. Some days the weight of what I lost is so heavy I can barely move. But I get up. I go to my job stocking shelves. I look at the picture of my grandson. I breathe through the frustration when it comes. I practice. And there is a kind of peace in that practice. It's a sad peace, but it's real. It's the peace of knowing I won't make that same cataclysmic mistake again. I've used up my one terrible, life-defining error. There are no more left. You, though, you're probably not me, not yet. You still have your everything intact. Your family is around you. Your freedom is yours. Your future is a blank page, not a record of a single devastating minute. You have the incredible gift of time and of choice. Please, see the cliff edge in those next 30 seconds. See your everything, your kids, your partner, your peace, your sky, and step back from it. Just step back. Breathe. Walk away. It is the most powerful, courageous, life-affirming thing you can do. This channel, from what I understand, is for stories like mine. Hard lessons learned too late. If what I've said here today means something to you, if it made you think of your own temper or your own everything, then I'd consider it a privilege if you'd subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Maybe my story can be a caution sign for someone else, so they don't miss the exit like I did. Leave me a comment down below. Tell me, what's your everything? What's the one thing you know you could never risk losing in a moment of anger? Just naming it, just writing it down, makes it more real. It gives you something to hold on to when the heat rises. If this story resonated, hit the like button. It lets me know this was worth saying out loud. And share it. Share it with a friend, a son, a brother, a coworker who has a short fuse. You might not think they'll listen, but sometimes a story from a stranger can get through when a lecture from a friend can't. And if you have a story of your own, a lesson you learned the hard way, something you carry that might help someone else carry their load, there's a form in the description. Fill it out. Your voice matters. Your hard-earned wisdom matters. Maybe next time, it'll be your story helping someone step back from their own cliff edge. I don't have any book recommendations. My library was a cell for 16 years. My textbook was regret. But my lesson is simple, and I'll leave you with it. Your life is not defined by the disrespect others show you. It's defined by the respect you show yourself. And the ultimate respect you can show yourself is to protect your one and only life from the fire inside you. Walk away. Your future self will thank you. I promise.